Tonight, if you live in the light right now, just move your body. Even when fall comes, you still live in the light. When it's dark outside, you walk with the light.
Stumbling block in my life, them no wants to strive. One day at a time, Jah give more blessing. Even in abundance, sorry, ain't got nothing. Still I call for me king. It's more blessing. Give thanks to life, Luton, for represent the mindset.
What inspire you to, to make reggae as a career, playing it?
So, obviously, like most kids growing up in Jamaica and around Jamaican culture in Miami, you get a love for the music, but then I think after college I started to manage a sound called Jah9, and that's where a lot of it started. So I started to manage Jah9, and then I used to be always going back and forth to Jamaica, so I learned to cut dub plates. So I used to cut dub plates for them, and through cutting dub plates, that's where I started to meet artists. So like I met Sizzla, Luciano, Gypsy King, Buju, like all of those guys from cutting dubs. This was back in the day before you could even like email. This is when you have to get a dub plate on a CD, then burn the CD and bounce it and burn it and give it to you. So that's where I kind of started, was cutting dub plates for them and managing a sound. So that's kind of how my brain started to acclimate to the music industry. I'd always been on the creative side of things as a visual artist, graphic designer. That's my first passion, or my first talent, is visual arts and design. So I transitioned, or I started to do both of them from managing the sound, and then from there they introduced me to some of the Marley family, and then our relationships kind of blossomed from there.
So Jah9, was that a sound in America?
Miami, yeah. And they were like one of the first, if not only, real successful culture sound that they strictly played culture. So this is way before reggae revival. This is way before anything. This is from 2003, 4. 2001, 2, 3. They started in high school in '96, but I came on in about 2002, 3, 4. I came on with them, and they, as a young Ras, it's like you find a sound, and some guys that are close in your age group that like all them do is play culture, and that's what I was into. So it was really a perfect thing, and that was I would say the first foray into reggae music, and like directly doing business, paying for dub plates, meeting artists, learning a split track from our stereo, like learning all of that stuff, and also just negotiations with artists, managers, stuff like that. So that experience it helps me to this day. Okay. That was my first start.
So all right, when you started with Jah9, was it something that you think would lead you to where you is today?
No, you're young and you're just doing things. So it's like doing things is better than not doing things, right? So you're just doing things, and as you go through and you start to learn and do things, you gain confidence in some areas that you show prowess, right? So in some of those areas, like dealing with artists, just relationships building, sharing creative ideas, I start to realize, okay, there's a strength in that. So I kind of started to build that.
So all right, you talk about Miami. See, I know the guy is originally from Jamaica. See, all right. When I was in Jamaica, I know the music is diverse. We have hip hop, we have all different genre. when you were much younger, what type of music were you into?
I always was into reggae. I never went through that period where like you kind of put down reggae or dance and you're just really into other things. I was always into other music, meaning I really, my generation is the generation that made hip hop popular. That's my generation, so I know it and I like it, but as somebody who was always conscious, I knew I had to attach myself to positive music. I did attach myself to like positive hip hop, like I was into like Common, Poor Righteous Teachers, different like old school hip hop stuff that was like brain food as well as, you know, make you dance and have a good time. But at a certain point, I think as my third eye or my heavens open up, it's like I really found reggae music to be what make my soul, like for me, what makes me really feel the best. And playing it, like as a DJ now, you know, like it's what I play everything, but it's really what makes me feel the best. It's like where I get my iration is when I play to Sizzla, to Deep Brown, to this, to that. You get me? That's how it make me feel full.
See,
right.
That's the far right. I was reasoning with Randy Valentine recently, and he was saying to me that if a DJ is not feeling his music, he wouldn't want the DJ to play music. As a DJ, how would you react to that statement from Randy?
As a DJ, as in most things, most careers that have a public side, you're a servant. So whoever is in front of you, you're serving them. Now, obviously, your speech, not so much about your microphone speech, but your speech is your music, right? So every DJ's speech has its own unique kind of tongue, so to speak, but you're serving the people. So if there's people there and I'm in Randy Valentine's hometown, or him just do a show 2 weeks ago and the show shell and the people that know the song them, or me personally think this song mixed with this song great, I'm going to do it. But you're always looking at the crowd, the interaction. You can never overcommit to a song that you might love if the people have not feel it, because as a DJ, as a selector, the worst thing for do is have people that stand up and look around like, boy, them selection, them don't know about it. You understand? And artists do not necessarily make every song that they make for me to play at a venue for people. Some song is for you for hold a thing in yourself in a yard, or for you for drive with your queen and hold a realms, or like, so music has many different purposes. Not all reggae music, dancehall, not all of it is for me to present to you to boogie.
True,
although we love the boogie, right? That makes the world, that makes our African, Afrocentric world go around, is the movement, you know. But for me, that it's not all about that. The music have different purpose. So in the occasion of the dance hall, like when you're in a dance hall and you present music, you have to be a servant to the people.
Natural.
Yeah.
All right. How did DUBWISE came about? How that started? So
I was fortunate enough to be to witness the reggae revival in Jamaica, which was, for those who may think of it as controversial name or a thing, is that dancehall, we always had a balance between reggae and dancehall, going all the way up till probably about 2000, maybe 6 or 7, and then dancehall kind of took over Jamaica, like meaning fully. Right? There was not like no place to go to listen to just reggae. The only place you could go was like Raytown Sundays, which like some of us would venture, us young people, like we'd be the youngest people there. So we would go to Raytown to hear like a reggae, hear to Ken Boot, to whatever. But there was the contemporary music would literally only play only at the beginning of the dance. So this is the area. This is the time coming out of drop leaf, those rhythms, that Don Corleone era. Because to his credit, he innovated reggae. Anybody could argue whatever they please, how he may have dealt with artists or what his business etiquette is or anything like that is not my place to discuss. But just from a sonic and being out there in the universe during that time, that up-tempo one drop definitely was an innovation on reggae music.
Bring a big change.
Big change. That big change. Right? And I mean that is in the books. That's written.
So all right. The when you speak about there was like a lack of reggae scenes. Did that give birth to the reggae revival?
Yeah. So there was like music is an ebb and a flow, and so there was that time like the Sizzla, Capleton, Anthony B, Damian Marley, Tarrus Riley, like the reggae scene was clicking. Like 6, 7, 8 huge artists like doing crazy shows. Did I say Anthony B? Yeah? Okay. Like doing crazy shows and stuff like that, right? And that kind of thing was like instrumental in getting people into reggae. Like even me at that time, I would say like that music heavily impacted me as a young Rasta. Like that's all I would listen to. That was my music. Like they were making music for me, and then there was like a little lull and dancehall, like the Elephant Man years and the like
Sean Paul.
Yeah, it took off like crazy. Pop, Give It All to Me, Keisha Cole, Sean Paul, this, that, like hugely popular music that took off. And that's great. That was great for Jamaica, great for dancehall, great for everything. But the reggae stuff kind of got a little silent. Not silent, but everybody was still there making music, but there was definitely a gap. Then some of the younger generation decided to take up roots reggae, to take it up, like, and that hadn't happened for 10 years. Because I remember at that time, when reggae revival started, Sizzla and Capleton, not even Capleton was more than 10 years in, but you're talking about Sizzla is already, his first record, that was what, 95 or 6? 96. So that time, he's 15 years into his career. Anthony B is 14 years into his career. Luciano is 20 years into his career. So that young energy is always necessary for all genres. All genres. Reggae is not excluded from that. It needs youth energy in order to connect to that next generation.
For it to grow.
Right. So fortunately, these set of youths took to reggae. And it created a movement. Protoje, Jesse Royal, Kabaka Pyramid, Jah9, Chronixx, maybe Micah Shamaya, couple others that are there that were a part of this young movement, all right? And I happened to own a store in Jamaica at the time. I owned a streetwear store.
Okay.
And so I was, when you in Jamaica, when you own a boutique, a store, like you have to be in touch with what's going on, because that's how you're gonna get people to your store to purchase a thing, and so you can pay your rent and your thing can go on. Jah9, Janine introduced me to Protoje, like early after his first song came out. Like I saw a picture of them together, and I was like, Janine, you know him? And she's like, yeah, I'm a virgin. We say, yo, and my thing say him, I'm gonna be the next one. That was his first song I heard it, Arguments. And when I heard that song, I was like, yo, he could be the next one. Introduce us. So I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I just said, let's just introduce us, and from there, our relationship just kind of kicked off, and we started to do a showcase in front of my store called Live from Kingston. And Live from Kingston featured all of the emerging talent in an acoustic style, or like small, you know, like 3-piece style. And that grew from like 60 people the first one, to 150 people the next one. So this was like in Manor Park in Uptown Kingston. Like this time ganja was still very illegal, everything. And the last one we did up there, we had mostly 500 people in the whole parking lot. Was young Rasta people, the whole parking lot. We took over nobody had ever seen that before. You'd never see a parking lot of young Rasta people that smoke weed, everybody a bill and thing, music a beat, everything. So yeah, so Live from Kingston with Protoje and I, and then you had Dub Club happening up at the top of Jack's Hill, and that was good, but we at the time in our camp we had a young selector by the name of Yaadcore, and so we wanted to give him an opportunity, because again it's all about the youth, right? It's not about like 35, 40 plus year old guys talking about music and doing music. It's about the youth. Our expertise is only to pass on to them, right? Either your children or your mentees or whoever, you're passing on knowledge. That is what we have it for.
So, alright, Yaadcore came into the mix now. Was Yaadcore responsible for the rebirth of dubbing?
No, alright, so in the UK, dub encompasses a lot of things. In the Jamaican context, dub does not encompass a lot of things. Dub has a much more singular meaning, right? The dub version of something, right? Less words, not the full song, the dub version. That is what dub means in contemporary Jamaica, right? So what Gabri was doing up at Dub Club was dub and roots. Not dub, a little bit of steppers like in the UK style, but more so dub and roots. So what we did and he played some of the young people stuff, but not a lot of it and not enough of it in our opinion. So we said, okay, that's on a Sunday. We should have something in the week for the young people that they're gonna hear Chronixx, Protoje, this, that, they're gonna hear reggae, right? And so we then created DUBWISE to be on the flat in Kingston, not in the hill, so easily accessible. And so people could hear these young artists, right? So they could hear Jesse Royal's new song, they could hear, and so Yaadcore was the person who did that, who championed the music of the young people at the time to have other people hear it. Yeah, so that was his responsibility, that we kind of put him, Protoje and myself, kind of helped put him in that place and point in that direction to do that. And for a period of time, he did that, and it was exactly what we needed.
You mentioned England, you know, there's a slight difference with dubbing in England and Jamaica. You have people like Mad Professor here, Channel 1, Shaka. How would you differentiate